So as you might be aware, veteran filmmaker Michael Mann is actively in works to create a sequel to his 1995 classic Cops and Robbers film Heat, starring Al Pacino, Robert De Niro and Val Kilmer. Mann co-wrote a prequel sequel to his film with Meg Gardner, which came out in 2022, and at the time, startlingly, stated that the novel was, quote, totally planned to be a movie, one large movie at that. Since then, rumours have ebbed and flowed surrounding the likes of Adam Driver playing Robert De Niro's character, Oscar Isaac playing Pacino's role, and Austin Butler playing a young Kilmer. Now, we know that the film is definitely happening. The film was originally set up with Warner Brothers, but they've pulled out due to the film's $200 million budget, which Mann later reduced to $170 million. After some weeks of negotiations, Amazon have agreed to Mann's package, and the film is set to shoot in 2026 with Jerry Bruckheimer on board as producer, famous for his big action movies. As mentioned in my previous video on the movie, the surprise name of Leonardo DiCaprio was thrown into the mix, with the rumour being that he was circling a role in the movie. We've got some more information on DiCaprio's role. Some thought he must surely be playing a young De Niro. Others felt he might play the new character Otis, a leader of a gang of home invaders. But as I mentioned, I feel like DiCaprio is starting to look a little like Val Kilmer, and that, reportedly, is the role that DiCaprio is going to play, Chris Shiherlis. As Heat fans remember, Chris gets away at the end of the movie, and in Mann's novel, Chris must continue evading Vincent Hanna. Eventually he ends up in Southeast Asia and South America, and gets involved in crime there. And from comments Mann has made about filming in Asia and South America, clearly this is a storyline that they are going to pursue in the movie. Personally, I thought Chris in Asia was some of the more boring aspects of the book, but in any case, the novel is also a prequel set around 7 years before the film, in which De Niro's Neil and his crew work some schools. So it looks like DiCaprio will play the sidekick of whoever is playing Neil in the flashback storyline, and will also get his own significant storyline. What do you make of DiCaprio playing the Chris role? Let me know in the comment section below, and while you're there, consider subscribing to the channel. Mann recently stated the following: Heat 2 is an expensive movie to make, but I believe it should be made at the proper size and scale. It's going to shoot in Chicago, Los Angeles, Paraguay, and possibly some parts in Singapore. It's complex. People make dramas at a certain budget level. Because of the costs, Heat 2 is probably double that. So if it was at a low price, I could have made it anyway, but it's complex. I can't get into all of the politics, but we moved from Warner Brothers to Amazon and United Artists. The fact that he mentioned Chicago, Paraguay and Singapore suggests to me that this won't really cut corners with the story of the book, and will be a proper prequel set in Chicago and a proper sequel set in Asia and South America. Personally, I do have my criticisms of DiCaprio, as I've mentioned in a previous video, but I would have found it interesting to see what he could do with an unhinged character like Otis. I didn't like the idea of him playing Neil or Hannah, but I can see him playing Chris. If not for nothing else, he does kind of look like Val Kilmer. Then again, so does Austin Butler, so it remains to be seen whether Butler is removed from the film or is up for a different role, or whether Butler plays a young Chris and DiCaprio is the older one. If that's the case, there might be some question marks as to why Austin Butler turns into Leonardo DiCaprio after only 7 years. But such are the complications of making sequels and prequels with aging, makeup and timelines to consider. On a related note, Mann has recently been asked about his opinion on AI and whether he has plans to use the technology. According to Deadline's article, he said he has not used the technology as yet, but was mulling the use of AI in Heat 2 to support the aging and de-aging process of the characters of Detective Vincent Hanna, Neil McCauley and Chris Shiherlis, with the film revisiting their stories prior to the original's 1995 setting. I don't experiment with technology gratuitously. If I have a dramatic need or aesthetic need for it, then I go deep into what I need, he said. For example, aging and de-aging will be very important in the film. So, Mann hasn't explicitly said he's going to use AI to age his characters appropriately, but the Deadline article, and it was them who interviewed him, suggests he is considering it. Although looking past the headlines to what he actually said, one could argue he's pretty much saying he won't use de-aging tech, going off just the quotes themselves. We don't really know the context behind what he said. He hasn't actually used the words AI, and the cynic in me feels it could be just there to essentially generate clicks. I just took it that he was weighing different options. But let's discuss. I mean, I don't know about you, but when someone mentions de-aging tech, I get PTSD flashbacks to Robert De Niro kicking the grocer in The Irishman. There's been a lot of films that have toyed with de-aging, the recent Indiana Jones movie for example, and I'm just kind of sick of it. I've yet to come across a movie where it's used extensively and it was done well, usually because it didn't look good, or even when it did look good, you were too busy gawping at it trying to find the imperfections rather than being engrossed into the story of a movie. Can't we just go back to a world where actors wear some makeup and audiences suspend their disbelief? I'm tired of all this de-aging stuff. Then again, man has been an early embracer of technology, and the conversation was about AI, not CGI. And AI, of course, can look very real. He was one of the first filmmakers to really get on board with digital cameras instead of shooting on film, and the likes of Collateral looked really good. But man has made mistakes with tech too. Those same digital cameras making the cinematography in Public Enemies look horrible. That movie having a cheap feel because of it. Not to mention, this is the quality of CGI in Mann's previous film, Ferrari. Mann also revealed he's looking to direct a western after his Heat 2 film. So what do you make of this news? I mean, aside from the fact that I'm really fine with not having a Heat 2 full stop, with the first film being perfect and the book a nice bonus to see what the characters were like before and what happened to them after. I really just prefer they hire younger actors. Obviously, it's not a similar case to The Irishman, where 70-year-olds were de-aged to 40-year-olds. Here we're talking about differences of, say, 10 years or so. Will it be a case of a young actor running around in Chicago and the film using AI to put a 40-year-old uncanny Valley Pacino's face on him? Or will we get someone like Oscar Isaac in makeup, a few CG tweaks here and there? It's not quite clear how exactly Mann is going to do it just yet. In that Furiosa prequel, they scanned the main actress's face and added more and more of her features to the younger actress as the film went on until she started to look like Anya Taylor-Joy. That's an example of it being done right. But then again, the Mad Max character in the new versions, played by Tom Hardy, was a recast of a role played by Mel Gibson. They didn't use any de-aging tech there, they just recast the role. There's also a film called Looper, where Bruce Willis plays an older version of a character and Joseph Gordon-Levitt as the younger version. And they simply used old-fashioned prosthetics and makeup to make Gordon-Levitt look like Bruce Willis. And they would have done it on Willis too, to create a synergy between the two characters. He just didn't want to do it. But that's the road I thought they were going to go down with Heat 2. If, for example, it was Driver as De Niro's character, just give him a goatee, give him the hair, tell him to model his mannerisms on what a young Neil McCauley would look like, and away we go. All this talk about AI and de-aging technology has come out of nowhere for me. I don't deny that we could be on the cusp of something revolutionary in film when it comes to AI technology. And this film director has always been an early embracer of new tech, but somehow I doubt 82-year-old Michael Mann is the man to spearhead this AI movement in film. The book Heat 2 jumps between two time periods, the first following Shiherlis as he tries to evade the LAPD in Hannah, following the bank robbery gone bad in the movie, and which moves forward into new territory in the tri-border zone and Southeast Asia. The second storyline takes readers back to Chicago in 1988 when Macaulay, Shiherlis and their Highline crew are taking scores on the West Coast, the US-Mexico border and in the Windy City. At the same time, Hannah is cutting his teeth as a rising star in the Chicago Police Department, chasing an ultraviolet gang of home invaders. What do you make of Mann's sequel? Let me know below, and you can check out my review of the novel in another video. Thanks for watching.